Hello and welcome to the podcast. This is Ron's Amazing Stories. We have stories that should thrill you a little and chill you a little.
It's amazing.
What you'll hear are adventures sent in by you guys, classic stories from the pulp mags, and episodes from the golden age of radio. We have special segments like Ghost Stories with Sylvia.
That's amazing.
And These Are Your Stories. So settle in for the next hour and enjoy the show. One more thing. You just might want to prepare yourself to be taken away from today. Hello and welcome to the podcast. On the show this week, we take a look at the history, origin, and stories about monsters. We open with The Other Day I Thought. This time I give you my musings on the truth about monsters. We continue that thought with a review of the audiobook American Monsters by Linda Godfrey. She presents some of the strangest creatures known to reside in the U.S. Then Gregg shares a work of fiction he wrote titled The Monster of Gifford National Forest. Our featured story comes from the OTR series Dark Fantasy and is titled The Sea Phantom. I guarantee that this one is not what you're expecting. Next up, we have a brand new Johnny, Is It True? Can you tell folklore from fakery? Listen in and find out. We're going to end the show with an oddity. I asked Google's Gemini to create a monster tale based on my inputs. You're not going to believe the results. So, let's get things rolling with The Other Day I Thought. The other day, I thought. Being creative is what I do. I like to think that it brings new folks in and old listeners back.
That is true.
I have been doing it since 2011, and over the years I've done some things that have hit and some that have fell on deaf ears.
That bad, huh?
But there's always some rhyme to my reason. And this segment attempts to give some insight into how my brain works.
Alrighty then.
This past week, I've been thinking about the upcoming month of spooky, specifically the origin of monsters. Monsters have appeared in literature for thousands of years, dating back to ancient mythology. However, the first examples of monster literature, in a modern sense, can be traced back to the 19th century with the publication of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein in 1818. Now, that is a long time ago, but the monster has really taken hold in both film and literature ever since. Also, I think their origins lie in a combination of fear, fascination, and the human need to explain the unknown. In ancient times, the natural world was both a source of awe and terror. Unexplained phenomena such as storms, earthquakes, and diseases were often attributed to the actions of a powerful, often malevolent, being. Animals, too, inspired fear and reverence, their strength and ferocity prompting the creation of fantastical creatures such as dragons, griffins, and chimeras. Isn't that funny?
What do you mean? Funny haha or funny peculiar?
Does it really matter? But here is the truth. Monsters have a bad rap. All those fangs, tentacles, and glowing eyes, it's just a fashion statement. In reality, they're mostly just big introverts who prefer their dimly lit caves to bustling cities. Take Bigfoot, for instance.
Bigfoot? He's real?
Sure, he's a bit hairy, has a penchant for hiding behind trees, but have you ever considered that he's just shy? Maybe he's terrible at small talk and would rather avoid awkward encounters at the grocery store. And Nessie, that elusive lake dweller, she's probably just an avid reader who loves the peace and quiet of her underwater library. All those blurry photos, they're probably just her trying to capture the perfect Instagram shot.
Aww.
Even vampires, with their aversion to sunlight and garlic breath, are likely just misunderstood night owls with sensitive palates. Think about it. Who wants to deal with traffic and sunburn when you can enjoy a peaceful midnight snack in your coffin-shaped bed?
Does that really happen?
So next time you hear a bump in the night or see a shadowy figure lurking in the distance, don't panic. It's probably just a monster trying to enjoy their me time. Just give them a wave and let them be. They're likely just as scared of you as you are of them. After all, who wants to socialize when there's a good book or a comfy cave waiting?
How very enlightening.
Bottom line, monsters continue to captivate us because they represent the darker side of human nature. Our fears and anxieties, our fascination with the unknown. They allow us to explore our own limitations and comfort our deepest fears, all from the safety of a story or a TV screen. Well, there are my thoughts for this time. I hope you found them entertaining. All ideas expressed in this segment are mine and fall under the Conventional Expression Copyright Act, and therefore are subject to ridicule and praise, as the case may be. Feel free to offer feedback and any thoughts you might have on the main website. I would love to hear from you. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/Ron's Amazing Stories. We're going to continue our thoughts on monsters. The United States, with its vast and varied landscapes, has fostered a rich tapestry of folklore and legends. Within these tales lurk a fascinating array of monsters and cryptids, creatures that both intrigue and terrify. Like the Jersey Devil. Hailing from the Pine Barrens of New Jersey, the Jersey Devil is a winged, bipedal creature with hooves, a long tail, and a blood-curdling scream. First reported in the 1700s, the legend gained momentum in the early 1900s with a wave of sightings and alleged attacks. While many dismiss these accounts as mass hysteria or hoaxes, the Jersey Devil remains one of the most well-known cryptids in the country. Or how about the Mothman? It's a winged humanoid with glowing red eyes and is said to have terrorized the town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia in the mid-1960s. Sightings of the creatures coincided with a series of strange events, culminating with the collapse of the Silver Bridge in 1967. The Mothman legend has inspired numerous books, films, and even a local festival, solidifying its place in American folklore. The chupacabra. Originating in Puerto Rico and spreading to the southwestern United States, it is a fearsome creature said to attack livestock, draining their blood. Descriptions vary, but it's often depicted as a reptilian or canine-like creature with spines or quills along its back. While some believe the chupacabra is a real animal, others attribute the attacks to known predators or misidentified wildlife. Whether rooted in reality or the realm of the imagination, these famous monsters have become an integral part of American folklore. They reflect our fascination with the unknown, our fear of the wilderness, and our endearing desire to believe in something beyond the ordinary. Which brings us to our audiobook review. American Monsters, A History of Monster Lore, Legends, and Sightings in America, by Linda S. Godfrey. Here's a clip from the book.
The Webb Lake Big Bird. At about 11 a.m. on a bright, warm day in June 2005, Minnesota light fixture retailer John Baldwin decided to enjoy a bike ride on a country road while on vacation near Webb Lake in northwestern Wisconsin. The family cabin where he was staying was part of a private resort and vacation home development with very little noise or traffic, an ideal environment for bicycling and observing the local wildlife, such as deer and grouse. Baldwin didn't know it, but he was about to encounter something far wilder. As the 6'2", 45-year-old man pedaled leisurely past a grassy meadow about 3/4 of a mile from the development's golf course and clubhouse, he spied what looked like a very large bird, larger than any bird he had ever seen, picking its way through the field. Baldwin estimated the feathered behemoth stood only about 50 yards away as he braked to a stop, transfixed. "I didn't know what it was, so I stopped for a closer look," said Baldwin. "At first I thought it was an emu, an Australian bird that can get up to 6 or 7 feet tall that some farmers in the area were raising, but as I got closer, I knew it wasn't an emu." Using the height of the grass to compare his own size with that of the bird, he discovered that the bird stood significantly taller than he did, at least 7 feet tall, perhaps 8. Its huge body was entirely visible above the grass, and Baldwin guessed that the body length was between 5 and 6 feet long, not counting the neck. The body appeared very bulky, he added. Baldwin's mind raced as he tried to classify the bird as some known animal. Its head, neck, and beak reminded him vaguely of a sandhill crane, but he knew at the same time that the enormous avian was much larger than the cranes that migrate to the area of Wisconsin's milder seasons. The bird seemed unaware of his presence, and he quietly continued to inspect it. It was covered uniformly in silvery gray feathers with no visible markings, but its unbelievable size was what made him want an even closer look. He kept one careful eye on the bird as he slipped off his bike and waded into the field as quietly as he could. He estimates that he was within about 75 feet of the creature when it finally spooked and took to the air, an action that appeared to require some real effort on the creature's part. "The size was then truly apparent as it flew away," said Baldwin. "The wingspan, I estimate, must have been 18 feet. It was at least 3 times as large as any large eagle I had ever seen. It was so gawky as it flew away. The flapping on those huge wings was slow and seemingly laborious. The wings seemed to roll as they flapped, like dropping a big rock in water and seeing the waves roll from it. It was not graceful." Baldwin confirmed the length of that wingspan when I visited the site with him in June 2013. When the bird flew away, there was a short period where he could observe it flying over the road. He noticed that the wingspan was at least as large as the 20-foot wide country lane, which was remeasured to make sure. "Not only was the wingspan large," he continued, "but the wing itself must have been 2 feet wide as it flopped over the horizon. It almost looked like the size of a small airplane or ultralight aircraft, In fact, there is a small airstrip there where small planes take off and land, and this bird was the size of a piper cub as it flew over the trees. The bird then headed off above an adjacent farm and flew toward the airstrip, he said. John watched the bird disappear into the distance, as the rolling, wave-like motion of its wings again convinced him that he was, in fact, watching a live animal and not some type of aircraft. "I know it was an actual animal," he said.
American Monsters is a captivating listen for anyone fascinated by the mysteries that linger in the shadows of the American landscape. It challenges readers to question the boundaries of reality and consider the possibility that these creatures may be more than just figments of our imagination. Godfrey's engaging writing style and meticulous research make this book an essential addition to the library of any cryptozoology enthusiast, or anyone who enjoys a good dose of the unexplained. It serves as a reminder that even in the age of technology and scientific advancement, the world still holds many secrets waiting to be discovered. Now, if that appeals to you, head to audibletrial.com/Ron'sAmazingStories and you can have it for free. Here is what Audible has set up for us. They are offering a free audiobook in 30 days to give you the opportunity to check out their service. You can stream or download thousands of included audiobooks, podcasts, and Audible originals in the Plus catalog. There's so much to do there that you're never going to run out of material. So, to download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/Ron'sAmazingStories. You'll be glad you did, and you'll be helping me out in the process. Thank you, Audible.
These are your stories, special edition.
Welcome to These Are Your Stories. You might be asking, how is this different from the other segment? The answer is simple. These are special. But what makes them that way? Again, the answer is simple. They deserve special treatment. It may be the content of the story or how the story was obtained. Or it could be that the storyteller himself or herself is actually here in person. No matter the how, why, or where, what you'll hear in this segment is going to be special. You've probably guessed by now that our theme is monsters today, and our listener story follows that quite nicely. It is a work of fiction sent in by Gregg Ackerman. Gregg lives with his lovely wife and 2 sons in sunny Huntington Beach, California. The story takes place in an area that I'm quite familiar with, the Gifford Pinchot National Forest. It is 1.3 million square miles of pretty much uninhabited forest and hills. I've hiked much of it, and I can honestly say that Gregg has nailed it. He has titled his story, The Monster of Gifford National Forest. The forest loomed ominously, a fortress of ancient trees and whispering shadows. John, accompanied by his 2 eager sons, Alex and David, ventured into its depths, the promise of adventure beckoning them deeper into the unknown. The crisp air hummed with distant cries of unseen creatures, and the crunch of their boots on fallen leaves echoed eerily in the vastness of the forest. As the sun began its descent, casting long, eerie shadows across the forest floor, a sense of unease settled over them. The boys, initially brimming with excitement, now hung closer to their father, their youthful laughter replaced by nervous whispers. A sudden rustle in the undergrowth sent a jolt of fear through their hearts. Their eyes darted anxiously in search of the source. Darkness enveloped the forest, transforming it into a realm of impenetrable shadows and unseen terrors. John, armed only with a flashlight, led his sons along the winding trail, their footsteps heavy with trepidation. The air grew thick with an oppressive silence that seemed to amplify every snap of a twig and rustle of leaves. A guttural growl, low and menacing, shattered the stillness, sending a wave of terror through their bodies. They froze, their hearts pounding in their chests, their breaths held in terrified anticipation. The growl echoed again, closer this time, followed by the sound of heavy footsteps crashing through the undergrowth. Panic seized them, their instincts screaming at them to run. John, his paternal instincts overriding his own fear, grabbed his son's hands and bolted down the trail, their flashlight beam dancing wildly in the darkness. They could hear the creature gaining on them, its enraged roars echoing through the trees. They stumbled upon a clearing, their lungs burning, their legs aching. The creature emerged from the shadows, its massive silhouette towering over them, its eyes glowing with an unholy light. It was Bigfoot, its fur matted and tangled, its stench overwhelming. The boys screamed, their voices swallowed by the vastness of the forest. John, his back against a tree, shielded his sons with his body, his heart filled with desperate courage. The Bigfoot advanced, its growls turning into a deafening roar. Just as the creature was about to strike, a piercing whistle cut through the air. The thing paused, its head snapping towards the source of the sound. A moment later, a series of gunshots rang out, echoing through the trees. The Bigfoot roared, its massive body shaking. It turned and fled, disappearing into the darkness. John and his two sons collapsed onto the ground, their bodies trembling with relief. They had been saved, but by who? The memory of that terrifying encounter would haunt them forever, a chilling reminder of the unseen terrors that lurks in the depths of the Pinchot National Forest. Gregg Ackerman, Huntington Beach, California. Well, there you have it, a story as chilling as it is well written. I want to thank Gregg for sharing his story with us today. It truly is amazing. If you have a story that you want to share, like Gregg did, head to the main website at ronsamazingstories.com. Click on the story submission banner, leave your story, give it a title, and please tell me where you're from. I'll read it if I can. Our featured story loosely follows the theme of monsters. Dark Fantasy was a short radio series with tales of weird adventures and the supernatural. The series aired as a horror drama on NBC between 1941 and 1942. It began on radio station WKY in Oklahoma City and through transcription spread out from there. It was written by Scott Bishop and was heard on Friday nights. Although a short series, the stories are amazing, with some being way ahead of their time. Our story today visits monsters in the form of ghosts protecting a treasure that's hundreds of years old. It is titled Sea Phantom, and it first aired on January 6, 1942.
Dark Fantasy.
the skipper of the sea phantom.
I say, sir, and what be you doing in the captain's cabin? Do you hear me, sir? What be you doing sitting there writing on the captain's slate? Oh, ignoring me, eh? Now look here, you. This is Captain Strong's own cabin, and no one's got any business of sitting here writing. I say, you're not a member of this crew. Blow me down. Your face. Look at you. Why, you're not human. Captain Strong! Captain! Captain Strong! I say, Captain Strong! Captain Strong, sir!
Yes, Isaac. What is it, man? What's all the rumpus?
Begging your pardon, sir, but there's someone in your cabin, sir.
Well, who is it?
What's that, Isaac?
There's someone in the captain's cabin, sir.
Who is it?
I don't rightly know, sir.
Well, didn't you see who it was?
Yes, Mr. Wilson, that I did, sir.
But the captain always locks his cabin, don't you, Captain Strong?
I do, but I could have forgot.
Well, it wasn't locked just now, Captain.
You say you got a look at the man?
Aye, sir, and full in the face, Captain. If you can rightly call it a face.
What's that? What do you mean, Isaac?
Yes, man. Speak up. What are you trying to tell us?
I mean, sir, the man ain't human. He's nothing but a skeleton.
What?
Nonsense, Isaac.
Oh, no, sir, and that is not. I seen him, sir. Looked plumb into his face, I did. And there's nothing there but bones. White, bleached bones, sir.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
With empty eye sockets and a gaping mouth, and he was writing on your slate, sir.
Writing on my slate?
Aye, Captain. Writing with a piece of white chalk, held between his fingers. Fingers with no flesh on them, sir.
Why, you've been dreaming, Isaac. Come on. Let's get down to my cabin and have a look. Come along, Mr. Wilson.
Right, Captain. Isaac, come on.
Aye, sir.
Well, it's impossible for anyone to be in my cabin. All hands are either on deck or down in the engine room.
That's what I say, Captain Strong. He ain't one of the crew. He ain't rightly nobody, sir. Unless you want to call a spirit somebody.
Isaac, stop that sort of talk.
No, but it ain't no sort of talk, sir. Begging your pardon, Mr. Wilson. I seen him with my own eyes. Sitting there, dressed in some sort of get-up I ain't never laid eyes on before. He had his back to the door, and he was writing on your slate with a chalk, Captain. I spoke to him, but he didn't pay me no mind. Just kept right on with his writing. Then I got closer to him, and he still didn't look up. So I stooped down and peered into his face, I did. And then I seen he wasn't nothing but a skeleton, sir.
Well, if you were a drinking man, Isaac, I'd have you flogged and put in irons.
I'm not so sure he hasn't been at the keg, Captain.
Begging your pardon, sir. You'll see for yourself soon enough. Here's the hatch.
You first, Captain.
Just as I thought. Nobody here.
Oh, cabin's empty.
But I locked this door, Captain. So whoever it was couldn't get out.
Well, you must have done that all right. I certainly unlocked it just now. You can see for yourself, Isaac, there's no one in here.
No, nobody. And no way out except through that door.
I say, Captain, have a look.
Yes, Mr. Wilson, what is it?
Your slate. There is writing on it.
Eh? What's that? Well, here, let me see.
Here.
There, Captain Strong. You see, sir? That's not your writing, is it?
No. No, it isn't my writing.
Then one of the men must have been in here and wrote that.
No, I don't think so. Because this writing is a style and a type that was used more than 200 years ago.
What? Well, let's see. I say. That is strange writing. It's English, all right. Such a peculiar spelling and phrasing.
Blimey, I can't read it at all.
Isaac,
Aye, Captain.
now seeing this, I can't help but believe that you saw somebody sitting here in my cabin writing on my slate. But I won't be convinced that it was a skeleton.
But I tell you, sir,
It was your imagination, Isaac.
Oh, no, sir, it wasn't no imagination.
I said it was your imagination. You understand?
Aye, sir.
Now, I don't want you to open your mouth about this to the crew. You hear me? There's some explanation. I'm not going to have you stirring up the crew with this. They're all superstitious enough without that.
Aye, sir.
Those are orders, Isaac. I'll have you in irons if you breathe a word of this to the men.
Aye, sir.
That's all, Isaac.
Aye, sir.
Well, Captain Strong?
What do you make of it, Wilson?
Most extraordinary. I'm positive Isaac did see someone in this cabin.
But surely not a fleshless creature.
I don't know. Isaac is a sober, steady sort of person.
But confound it, man.
He hasn't much imagination.
Well, who ever heard of a skeleton aboard a ship, much less one that could write on a slate?
Stranger things than that have happened at sea. You know that.
Yeah, that I do. But I can't convince myself that what Isaac saw was really some fleshless creature without a brain or heart or eyes.
Can you make out the writing on the slate?
Yeah, I think so. Says, it is not correct, the information you have about the sea phantom. Change your course 6 degrees northeast to location 26 degrees 7 minutes longitude, 18 degrees 9 minutes latitude. Jonathan Strange.
Jonathan Strange?
No, it can't be.
He was the famous captain of the Spanish galleon, the Sea Phantom. The one we're hoping to locate.
Yeah, he was. Jonathan Strange. Dead for 224 years. Lost in a gale in 1718.
Yes. But not in the position this message on the slate directs us to.
No, indeed. The Sea Phantom was supposed to have foundered at 20 degrees longitude. The message says 26 degrees and 7 minutes.
Yes.
Could this be a trick?
A trick, Captain?
Someone else who's heard of the immense treasure that went down with the Sea Phantom. Someone who's trying to steer us off our course. Get to the treasure themselves.
I doubt that.
What do you say you doubt it, Mr. Wilson?
Well, sir, we've kept the entire expedition completely secret. Not even the crew know what we're up to.
We've tried to keep the entire expedition a secret. I'm positive I haven't mentioned to anyone.
Nor have I, Captain Strong. When I stumbled upon the information about the Sea Phantom, I knew there was an excellent opportunity to recover almost $1 million worth of gold. And naturally, I needed a boat. You were the first one I thought of.
Neither of us would have had a reason for disclosing our knowledge about the treasure.
That's just it. That's why I'm so inclined to believe Isaac was telling us the truth.
About the thing without flesh, right in this message?
Precisely.
That's unbelievable.
Even so, Captain, you must admit that a man who's been dead more than 200 years certainly wouldn't be much more than a skeleton. Isn't that right?
You mean... good heavens. You mean this message was actually written by Jonathan Strange himself?
I mean exactly that.
I wonder.
What about it, Captain? Do we change the course?
I don't know. What's your advice?
Normally, I'm not superstitious. But, well, what can we do? I've never believed in ghosts or spirits up to now. But that message on that slate certainly is convincing.
Then you're in favor of following the instructions. Well, Mr. Wilson?
Yes. Let's change the course and go to the spot the message mentions. If you're willing to take a chance, I certainly am.
Mr. Wilson, sir. I say, Mr. Wilson, sir.
What's the matter? Who's there?
Mr. Wilson.
Yes, who's there?
Me, sir. Isaac Newton, sir.
Well, come in and stop that noise. Oh, what in thunder's gotten into you, waking me up in the middle of the night? What time is it anyway?
8 bells, sir. Midnight.
Midnight. A big day ahead tomorrow. Oh, confounded man, what do you want?
Well, I'm standing watch alone tonight, sir. Maybe I should have told this to the captain, but I come to you first.
Well?
I've just sighted a boat to the port side, sir.
Well, have you identified her?
Oh, no, sir. You see, she ain't carrying no lights, sir.
No lights?
Oh, no, sir. And she's not like any ship I've ever seen, sir.
To the port side, you say?
Aye, sir. She's riding with full sail.
What?
Aye, sir. She looks to me like one of those old-time boats you see in pictures.
Hand me my boots there, Isaac. I'll come up on deck and have a look.
There she blows, sir. You see? Not a sign of life aboard her, sir. And the moon's full tonight.
Look, man, look.
What, Mr. Wilson?
That name on the bow.
I can't see that far, sir. My eyes
That name. The Sea Phantom.
Sea Phantom, sir?
Yes. No wonder she's carrying no lights. No wonder there's no one aboard.
What do you mean, sir?
Isaac, if you've never seen a ghost ship, take a look at that boat out there.
Ghost ship?
Yes. The Sea Phantom went down in these waters more than 200 years ago.
Blow me down, sir. Are you having a joke with me, Mr. Wilson?
No. No, this is no joke. That's a ghost ship, right enough. You watch. She'll be gone in a minute or two.
I'm begging your pardon, sir. But that boat's real.
Ghost ships always look real, Isaac.
But look you, sir. She's close enough to see. She's within throwing distance, I do believe. Here. This belaying pin here, Mr. Wilson. I'll try to throw it aboard the Sea Phantom.
Good. You watch. That pin will just go through thin air.
We'll see, sir. Well, here goes. Ah. There, sir. You hear that? She is real.
But that boat's so old, she should have fallen apart years ago. And besides that, she's supposed to be at the bottom of the Atlantic.
She looks old enough, all right, sir. But I don't understand what you mean about her supposed to be...
Isaac.
Aye, sir.
Lower a boat.
A boat, sir?
Yes, confounded a boat. Lower one at once.
Are we going aboard the Sea Phantom, Mr. Wilson?
I am, yes. Now lower a boat to the port side and double quick about it. Stop rowing now, Isaac. Ease up alongside.
Aye, sir.
Tie up to that rope hanging there.
Right, sir. There. All set, sir.
Right. Well, you stay here and watch, Isaac, while I go aboard. If I'm not back in a half hour, come aboard looking for me.
Aye, sir. Half an hour, sir. If you're not back by then, sir, I'll come aboard after you.
Keep a sharp lookout, Isaac. Let me know if you see anybody aboard.
Aye, sir.
So quiet aboard. Can't even hear the wind. No sign of life. No sign of life having been here for score upon score of years. Rotting timbers. Sea-soaked deck. Twisted, tangled ropes. Empty kegs with rusted hoops and warped staves. Strips of time-worn sails. And canvas swaying on the masts. Everything's so quiet. Quiet as though in reverence for the dead. Here. The hatch. Captain's quarters must be down here. Yes. This must have been his hangout. Let's have a look. A light burning in here. Hey, say, what's that? Oh. Bones. An entire human skeleton slumped here in the corner of the cabin. As though a man had propped himself up there and died.
Exactly, my friend.
Who's that? Did someone speak?
Certainly me.
But where are you?
Over here.
But I don't see you. There's no one in this room but myself.
Yourself and that gentleman slumped there in the corner.
Who are you?
My name is Jonathan Strange.
Jonathan Strange? Why, you're the skipper of the Sea Phantom.
That I am. Jonathan Strange, captain of the Sea Phantom, sailing with a cargo of gold for the Spanish ruler.
But, why, your boat went down in a gale 200 years ago.
So history says, yes. But men do not know everything.
I don't understand.
The Sea Phantom was no victim of a storm at sea. Oh, no, my friend. She was the victim of a cruel and vicious man.
I still don't understand.
Look here. You see the rusted iron ring there on the floor by your feet?
Yes.
Take hold of it and pull. It's a trap door to my cabin. That's it. It may be difficult. Use your strength on it. A little more force now. Ah, that's it. That's fine. There. You see?
Gold. Bar upon bar of solid gold.
Yes, gold for the King of Spain.
And chests of coins and jewels.
One there for the Queen. But Jose would have them for his own. He intends to mutiny the crew and steal the treasures that have been entrusted to us.
Who's this Jose?
Jose Menel, a wicked and cold-hearted fiend. Even now, the crew is waiting for me to leave this cabin. They know they'll never enter here while life is in my body.
But surely there's some escape.
No, none. They think I remain here to starve to death. They're fools. They do not know that they're about to perish, like the rats they are.
What do you mean?
Don't you smell the smoke? Listen. You can hear the flames.
Yes. Yes, I do.
They cannot escape in the boats, because I foresaw this mutiny and put the lifeboats out of commission.
But can't you escape?
No, of course not. For you to escape, you must make haste, my friend.
How?
The same way you entered here, of course. Hurry now, my friend, and take this with you.
What is it? What are you giving me?
You'll see. Hurry now. There's no time to waste. Soon the ship will be one mass of roaring flames, and none of us will be left alive.
Can't I take you with me? Can't you make yourself apparent so I can see you and take you along?
No, it doesn't matter. But let me warn you. With my life, I protected the treasures of the King and Queen. Throughout all eternity, I'll guard those treasures. It will not be wise for any man to attempt to obtain them for his own.
Yes, Jonathan Strange. I believe I understand exactly what you mean. That's why you brought me here. to show me?
Exactly. I must hurry.
Mr. Wilson, sir. Are you in there, Mr. Wilson?
Isaac, is that you?
Aye, sir. Blowing down, Mr. Wilson. This beastly bolts of fire. If we don't get over here in a jiffy, we'll be paying a visit to Davy Stone's locker before we know it, sir.
And so, Captain Strong, that's exactly what happened. And I repeat, it was no nightmare. Isaac here can vouch for that.
It's the very truth, Captain Strong. Word for word. So help me heaven.
And that was fair warning. And whoever attempts to get the treasures of the Sea Phantom is doomed.
Aye, sir. Just as those mutineers were doomed 200 years ago, sir.
It's odd. Very odd.
I'm amazed you or the others of the crew weren't awakened by the sound of the fire.
No? None of us heard a sound. The men don't even know about it now. I wouldn't have known about it myself if you two hadn't told me your story. If I hadn't seen those bits of charred wood floating on the surface this morning.
It was a huge treasure, Captain. I saw it in its hiding place, beneath the skipper's cabin.
And you got none of it?
Not a single bit. Oh, wait, I almost forgot. Just before I left the boat, this thing was handed to me.
Handed to you? But I thought you said there was nothing in that cabin but a pile of bones.
Yes, that is right. But this seemed to come, well, almost out of nowhere. And it was placed very firmly in my hand.
He sure enough had it in his hands when I broke into the cabin, sir.
Let's have a look. Why, this was the ship's log.
The log?
Yes. The complete log of the Sea Phantom's voyage. From the date of sailing, right on up through the mutiny. Look. This writing. It's the same hand. The writing on my slate and the writing on this paper are the very same. Curve for curve, angle for angle.
Here, let me see. Oh, I say, Captain.
Yes, Mr. Wilson.
Look here. On this last page. It reads, "Now that it has become my solemn duty to protect the treasures which have been entrusted to me, I will send the Sea Phantom to her ocean grave together with the treasure. This is my course as I see it. God assist me. Jonathan Strange, May 29th, 1718. Dark fantasy.
You have heard The Sea Phantom, tonight's tale of dark fantasy by Scott Bishop. Listen for
Okay, so I have to come clean and say that there were no real monsters in that one, but it sure was a creepy story. There were 31 episodes of dark fantasy made during its run, and all of them are still around today. You can find them on the Internet Archive. I guess if I had one issue with this show, it would be the music and the sound effects. They kind of were ear-scratchy, I guess is the way I would put it. I really didn't care for either. But hey, that's just my opinion.
Johnny, is this true?
As you know by now, I like to surf the internet to find the strange and unusual. I do this in the name of the podcast, but the truth is, I would do it anyway, even if there was no podcast. What you're about to hear is...
Johnny, is this true?
I will tell you a story and then ask the question, did I make it up or is it true? Your job is to decide. Let's get started.
Johnny, is this true?
This time on Johnny, Is It True? We're going to talk about monsters. I'm going to describe a creature, and you have to decide if I made the beastie up or the thing has some substance, at least in the annals of folklore. Let's get started. Monster number 1, the Manananggal. This guy is a shape-shifting beast that can split its body into 2 parts. It then grows bat wings and flies off in search of humans to feed on. By the way, with its entrails dragging behind him. Pretty gross, but did I make him up? Of course, I can find no proof of its existence, but he is an urban legend straight out of the horror book from the Filipino culture. Monster number 2, El Sombrian. This is a goblin boogeyman said to wear a large black hat and entice young girls to eat dirt, causing them to suffer from insomnia. Not too bad as monsters go, but did I make him up? This one is folklore from Guatemala. He is a short man, as goblins usually are, and is also known to braid horse manes. How very odd. Monster number 3, the spiny lumpsucker. This creature lives in the ocean and waits for unsuspecting prey, human or other, to come within range. It then leaps from the water, attaches itself to the ear, and drains brain fluid. How very awful. But did I make him up? Well, yes I did, but it's based on a real-life sea creature that does indeed exist. They are called lumpsuckers because they are spherical in shape, resembling a lump of flesh. Monster number 4, the Mahaha. This is a blue demon who tickles his victims to death. It uses its sharp talons while giggling like a maniac. This one is too silly. But did I make him up? Nope, he is a maniacal demon that terrorizes parts of the Arctic. He is described as a thin, sinewy being, blue ice in color, and cold to the touch. How about that? Well, there you have a short guide to little-known folklore monsters. I hope that you enjoyed this trip into the unknown, and please tell all your friends to watch out for these guys.
As read by amazing stories read by amazing people.
This time on As Read By, we have an experiment. I've been reading a lot about the world of AI and what it can do. I decided to try it out for myself, and I went to Google's Gemini and entered the following text. Write a story about a monster that lives in the basement of a bookstore. He eats any book written by Stephen King. He's square-shaped with a tattoo that reads, The Shining. What I got back will probably surprise you. The story is titled King, a Storybook Monster. Now, since it was created by AI, I thought it should be read by AI as well. I did do a little background audio engineering on the voice itself, and I hope that you enjoy it.
In the labyrinthine basement of the ancient bookstore, nestled among forgotten tomes and cobwebbed shelves, lived a peculiar monster. Square-shaped with a leathery hide, he lumbered through the dimly lit aisles, his existence a secret known only to the dust mites and the occasional intrepid mouse. His name was King, a moniker inspired by the tattoo etched across his square torso, the words, The Shining, forever marking him. This wasn't a mere decoration, it was a declaration of his singular appetite. King devoured any book penned by Stephen King, the spine-chilling narratives fueling his monstrous existence. One day, a curious customer ventured into the basement, drawn by the scent of aged paper and the promise of literary treasures. His eyes fell upon a first edition of Carrie, its dust jacket shimmering under the solitary light bulb. Unbeknownst to him, King was lurking nearby, his square form blending seamlessly with the shadows. As the customer reached for the book, King struck. His square body lunged forward, snatching the novel from the startled man's grasp. The customer fled, his heart pounding in his chest, while King retreated to his shadowy corner, the coveted book clutched in his leathery hands. Back in his lair, King savored his prize, the words of Stephen King dancing on his tongue, fueling his monstrous hunger. He was the guardian of the bookstore's basement, a literary monster with a taste for the macabre, his square form a silent sentinel in the dimly lit depths.
Well, what did you think? There is no doubt that Gemini did what I asked it to, but did it do a good job? Is it a bit scary that it could do it? And should it be able to do that? Please let me know what you think. Actually, I was quite amazed by the whole project. AI is indeed a scary thing.
Everywhere you go, across the country trip or across the street party, you carry the fun with you when you own a Columbia stereophonic high-fidelity phonograph. There's a marvelous selection of 7 new portable models in smart new color combinations at your Columbia phonograph dealer from which you may choose. Each one is a masterpiece of design and beauty. More quality, more features, and more styling have been built into these sturdy portables than ever before. How much fun you'll have enjoying all the wonderful new sound of stereo records. Regular records take on new beauty, too, when played on handsome Columbia portables. You'll be amazed at the big console sound that is reproduced by Columbia portable stereophonic high-fidelity phonographs. You'll thrill to the excitement of Stereo One by Columbia, #1 in the wonderful world of sound. And Columbia portables are economical, too. Prices start as low as $24.95. See them and hear them at your Columbia phonograph dealer.
That was episode number 659. I want to thank Gregg for sharing his monster story with us. I enjoyed working on that one. I should also say thank you to Google for allowing me to run Gemini in advanced mode. If you want to follow the podcast or the blog, head to ronsamazingstories.com. There you will find any of the links I mentioned and how to contact us. Do you want to help the show? The best thing you can do is to tell your friends all about it, and please leave reviews or feedback wherever you listen. Clicking that follow or like button helps us grow. Thank you for listening, and I hope you come again to find out what are Ron's Amazing Stories.
All of the vintage audio used in the podcast is believed to be in the public domain. Ron's Amazing Stories does not own the rights to any of the old-time radio used here. If you hold the rights to any of the shows played, please contact us immediately at ronsamazingstories.com.